Hey, what's up? It's Singano. Here to talk about figuring out life in your 30s. So, this channel is going to be dedicated to that and discussion points along the way that I want to really focus on are just career, relationships. I will want to document fun things along the way, more of kind of like what I'm learning about myself. But yeah, hopefully you learn something. I want to learn something through this process, and yeah, my hope is that something resonates with you and just have that knowledge share flowing. But with today's topic, I want to talk about the reason I majored in accounting and then the positives and negatives that I experienced that process now looking back on my time doing that major. So I'll definitely talk through the reasoning. I'll start off with the negatives so that we could end off on a positive note. And that's what I got for it today. So to start off on the reason, I did allude to this in my prior video about kind of talking through current state of where I'm at, but I majored in accounting from the expectations of my immigrant mother. So my mom definitely, she loves me very much, which is like, I'm grateful that she's been there for me, but she really pushed accounting, just thinking of what she wanted the most success for me, right? So at the time when I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew was like I loved the idea of like cultures, but I didn't know what that would mean for a career. And I didn't have a rebuttal for my mom in terms of like fighting back her like, you should do accounting because you doing these other majors like aren't gonna be anything. So I was like, all right, so I guess accounting it is. So that's honestly like how I got into doing accounting. Like I remember I tried to say marketing and my mom was like, what would you do with a marketing degree? And I was like, bro, I don't know. So again, I just did not have enough of the rebuttal like to be like, mom, like this is what I want to do, because I never really had that passion for something specific that could, like make her be like, well, okay, all right, we'll do something different. So that's really the reason why I majored in accounting. I knew even as I like decided this major, I was like, I don't like want this for my life, but we're gonna see how it goes. So I still try to see the positive in that whole situation, but it was still very much a situation where, yeah, I just was never thinking I want to be a CFO or anything like that. That was never my intention. So props to all the people like that. You know your path, but that was not me specifically. But yeah, so that's the reason why I studied accounting. And in regards to my experiences with accounting, I guess I'll kind of start off with the negatives that I was able to kind of just really think about post graduation and everything as I was starting my career. While I didn't want to do accounting, I think the biggest thing in terms of what I learned throughout my like degree in accounting was very narrow like paths into what was available. So at the time, and I've heard it's kind of still accurate to this day, is that is a very big focus on either you're doing tax or you're doing auditing. And that was the two paths that they pushed with my degree program, and that's kind of what they still do today because they want you to look into these two paths. And so now that I'm in my position in my 30s where I've seen that there could have been other ways for me to explore accounting, I just feel like that was a negative in terms of how that was just really pushed in my experience in school. So just so you know, I'll talk about this later because I think it deserves its own video, but I ended up deciding to do auditing. And while auditing was great, I definitely think there are other things to consider outside of those two paths. So, and I'm seeing it now, so I definitely would want to touch upon that in another video because I think there's a lot of juicy stuff to talk about there. Second thing I would say outside of the whole audit tax kind of pushing, I would say some of the material that I remember learning in school, I just wish, I think it's a critique that I see not only with accounting, but in other majors. It's just like more like practical like ways to do these like things in my day-to-day life. So for example, I took a whole class on pension accounting when who's doing pension, in the United States right now? Like that's not a common thing anymore. It's like, I don't have a pension. Do you have a pension? Like, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I remember doing that class and I was like, when am I actually going to be doing pension accounting? Till this day, I have not even seen it. Don't know her. Who is she? So yeah, some of the things that I just wish could be more like practical learning. I think that's another negative I would say that was from my experience with my accounting major. But again, looking back, I just wanted to just point out those were some observations. But there were some positives, I will say, in terms of just my experience doing accounting. So just to give a little background context, for my school, where I went to, you had to apply to get into the business school, and you had to do all these prereqs to be able to qualify for the major you wanted, whatever. So some of the classes you had to do were just like general accounting, management, high-level marketing. And I remember my first accounting class, it was over like 200 people in this like auditorium trying to learn accounting, and it just like made sense to me. Like it made sense. Debits and credits, the math was mathing, so I was like, wow. Whereas I saw a lot of people in that auditorium struggling, and I was like, okay, so maybe there is something to this, that I can understand this. And I was able to kind of just think about the positive in a way where if I end up doing business, at least I could do the accounting and then if I want to do something else, I figured that out, I could do the accounting. And thinking about my experiences today, it's really funny to me because people really do not like numbers and they run away from it like it's like a plague. So I do have the appreciation that I did accounting and that it made sense to me, because I'm not afraid of the numbers. I'm just like, what do we need to do? Like, let's just figure it out. That type of mentality. So I am grateful on that. And then the second thing I would say, just to kind of piggyback off that in terms of just like job security, I think a big thing that I've noticed with accounting, like then and even now, is that not many people are going to accounting. So I feel like the pool has lessened, and it's something that's also like relevant now. Like they're projecting like they need accountants. So I don't know what's gonna happen in the future and AI trying to like supplement that, but it's a skill where there is that security. I know it's so cliche, like to kind of talk about how, like you'll always have like the need for accounting, but it's honestly true. So that's like a positive. If like all else fails, like I always have something to like fall back on because there's always a need for accounting. So yeah, love hate with that, but I appreciate it, and it's a positive because it's always available. And again, it's like the fact that I know the numbers, I could figure it out. So very grateful for that. But yeah, anyways, just wanted to give some background context about the reason why I majored in accounting, even though I really didn't want to, but what I learned along the way, and so some of the things that I was able to appreciate through the struggle of it all. So there it is.